This podcast is for mature audiences only. Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Get Whipped podcast, where we discuss everything that has to do with Call of Duty Warzone. This is Episode 2. Let's get started. I'm Jeremy Holcombe. My co-hosts today are John Wilson and Matt Polizzi. What's up, guys?
What up, Jeremy? What up, Matt?
What have you guys been up to?
Just winning my Gulags.
Playing our favorite game, Call of Duty Warzone.
Nice. Since our last episode, there has been a lot of news that's been coming out. So the narrative director, Taylor Kurosaki of Infinity Ward, has basically stated that Warzone is going to be its own game unto itself. What that's going to be is the fact that it has its own support team. It's going to be a game where it's going to be connecting all the other Call of Duty games as it grows. So it's actually really good news for people who are fans of the Warzone game because of the fact that it's not going to disappear like Blackout did. And so we're going to have a lot more content coming out, and for years to come, and for people like us that talk about the game, we're going to have a lot more to say in the future. So I'm pretty excited about that. And
I like it too because it's not going to split the core people that play the game, right? So if they came out with the next Call of Duty, like they're going to drop this holiday season, we can't have a different battle royale for competing people, and so there's dedicated servers. They're going to keep it maintained and keep the game alive, and that's what I like. It's evolving. They've recently, since the last time we talked, they've done some nerfs. They've done some tweaks to the game. Listening to the feedback, and so far, season 3 has been the best season so far, and it's really brought back Call of Duty for me. I fell out of the game when we started jumping around and climbing walls and stuff like that. Now we're back to boots on the ground and squatting up with your boys and getting your loadouts. I love it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's going to be awesome as it grows, how it expands and adds new skins and all of that. I think it's great because we're not going to have to pay for another game. Each Call of Duty, you don't feel like you're wasting your money if you get Warzone late for each game, you know what I mean? You don't have to wait for the next drop. You just have a consistently running game.
yeah, I think that's one of the things that's turned me off from the Call of Duty franchise for the past few years. 5-6 years, I haven't really jumped into Call of Duty at all, just because I know there's going to be another one next year, and that's kind of their revenue strategy, right? They drop a new game every single year, and there's one coming out this year in 2020. I mean, don't know exactly how that's going to work or when it might drop, just because of everything that's going on with quarantine and pandemic and all that. But at least we'll have Warzone that's going to be there, and I think they realize, and we may have discussed this in the last episode, the sort of revenue that they can bring in with this game being free to play. I mean, just as an announcement, I bought the new Battle Pass Season 3, put down $10 into a free to play game. I mean, so... And the great thing about battle passes, and other battle royales have done this too, is that if you buy the first one and you play through it and you play the game, you can get enough points, credits, money, whatever to buy the next one for free, basically, and keep playing. So I am extremely excited that this game's going to have support, and it should. It's a great game. There's 60 million active players playing this game now and more, and it's only dropped since March. So we've got a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, to your point too, I think they're doing it really good with their microtransactions. The Battle Pass is just one feature. If that's the only thing you buy, you should be able to buy the Battle Pass every single season. But at the same time, they just introduced the new gun. It was the MK. It's the old Saw from Call of Duty 4. It's the same thing, just different name. And they dropped a bundle, right?
Yeah,
so
bundles.
you can unlock the weapon right away if you want to, without doing the challenge to unlock it. It's kind of like a weird one, anyways. LMG kills enemies near smoke. So I mean, for me, I actually missed the opportunity, but I wanted to buy it. But I'll unlock it eventually. There'll be another bundle.
Well, I think even going on that point is, say hypothetically they don't give you the COD points, right? Just hypothetically, say the Battle Pass, it's $10 every time a season comes out. There's a season drops every month or two. and then it's $10. I think it makes it really affordable for people that can't go out and drop $60 on a game or for whatever reason.
The new season should be coming up at the beginning of June, and we're only a few weeks away, and so it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. And there's been a lot of rumors going on about what Season 4 is going to bring and what it's going to do, and I think all three of us sort of feel like Season 3, as great as it is, they're kind of holding back with it because they want to be dropping. They want Season 4 to be a big drop, right? They want to have it to be awesome and amazing, to bring in new players. And so some of the things that have been coming out, the limited time modes, right? They attempted one, or they didn't. They've attempted a few this season. Supposedly, with all the leaks and stuff, there's supposed to be a lot more limited time modes coming out. And just to go over a few of them, there was a Reddit article that was published by a guy named Doug Dagnabbit. Someone said some of the limited time modes were going to be called Classic BR, Mo Gulag, Mo Problems, BYOL, Nonstop, Pew Pew, Run Like Hell, Bottom Line, Realism, and a few others like Infinite Gulag, Most Wanted, One Shot, Stimulus, and Inflation Redeployment. So that's 13 limited time modes that we haven't seen this season, are supposedly coming out sometime in the future, either later this season or coming up next season. And some of the interesting things is like the Classic BR, it's going to have no cash contracts gulags, Mo Gulag, Mo Problems, dead players go to Gulag until the final 3 circles, no buybacks, BYOL, bring your own loadout. And one of the interesting ones is called Most Wanted, which kind of is what the contract was supposed to be, something we discussed last episode, the Most Wanted contract, so you can only assume what that might be about. But
I mean, yeah, they experimented in Season 3. They did the sniper and shotgun thing, but they replaced trios at the same time, I think it was. Like, it was not well received. And they've also announced, which you didn't mention, was duos is dropping in Season 4. So I'm excited to have duos, trios, quads. And then they offer other game modes on top of it. Like, it's awesome. There's something for everyone.
I think duos is going to be an interesting twist, right? Because usually if you have 2, you're going in the trios, and then you're just outgunned. Now there's going to be, 75 teams in duos, and you're trying to just stay alive? That's going to be an interesting twist.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's also going to bring in the competitive factor. I think Call of Duty is, successful because it's got a competitive platform, and adding some way, because they already do tournaments right now, but they're doing it kind of a weird way. It's like they drop in as quads, but it's 2v2, and whoever has the most kills wins the round, and they do best of 3 that way. This way you could kind of drop in your own game and do your own thing, and also it could allow for the ability to make private games, and you could do a competitive game that way as well.
yeah, so one of the things that you mentioned was how they removed trios at one point and put it in limited time mode of sniper shotguns, I think it was. I really, really hope that they think about this, because they need to create their own playlist of limited time modes, and they need to keep the normal game to itself. Obviously, make all the changes and all the tweaks kind of season to season and make it fresh, but they need to keep those modes the way they are, because one, I mean, when you're talking about tournaments, if you're going to have tournaments like one weekend, you have it planned, and all of a sudden you have that playlist gone, trios is gone, and you have a tournament based around that, like, what are you going to do? You're just going to have a tournament with snipers and shotguns. So kind of one of the things that some other battle royales do is they keep them separate. You keep the normal game the way it is, and especially if you're going to start making competitive playlists, have that stay normal, and then have all these other fun games for when you feel like the game's starting to get stale, you can have these other game modes for other people to play and have fun in. And so that's one thing I hope they think about, because right now when we're playing stimulus solos, like, I just want to play normal solos instead of jumping into that game mode, coming back alive just because I have a certain amount of money. I like the normal mode, and I want to be able to play it when I want to.
You have to earn your life, all right? If you die, you go into that gulag, you have to hit your shots.
Something I
hit your shots, kid.
Hard at today. Could hit a shot to save my game.
Yeah, I mean, we can move on to subjects here, but the last thing that we had just brought up was duos, and I'm actually really surprised that duos hasn't been dropped in this season or yet. and that they're waiting on it. From what I found from playing other games is duos is actually really competitive. I mean, you get two really good players together, they can just start wrecking, and it can be difficult. I mean, three players, four players, you might have two good players, but then you get surrounded by an entire team. There's not much you can do. You get two really smart players, and they're gonna wreck. So it'll be interesting to see when that finally comes out.
It's so chaotic, right? For quads, and you down three people, and someone and the whole team's still alive. Like it's
Yeah,
insane.
exactly.
It's just 2-0s is gonna be fast paced. It's gonna be competitive, and honestly, I think it's gonna be my favorite mode.
Well, and the three of us, we're a pretty decent squad. I mean, we get wins periodically. We're not like great like pro players, but
Yeah.
we work well as a trio. But there are times when one of us isn't available and we're rocking duos in a trio format. We don't get a third. I mean, I can say with both of you, I finished top 3, top 2. We haven't gotten that win yet, like when there's only 2 of us, but we can definitely get to the end.
You're at a clear disadvantage. I mean, that's what you're trying to say. And because sometimes the guys don't mic up, right? You can't hear them. Or
Especially with randoms.
yeah, with the random, it's so annoying that you drop in, the guy dies, loses in his gulag, and quits the game, goes on to the next one. That's so frustrating. It's hard to do.
Or you buy him back. He's not paying attention. He leaves anyways.
AFK, yeah, I've had that
I
too.
wasted $4,500 doing that once or twice.
I mean, I've wasted $4,500 picking you up once or twice.
Well, yeah,
We can discuss that later.
that's a different topic.
One of the things that you guys brought up was the gulag, and so how do you guys think that the gulag's been lately for the both of you?
I think the Gulag has gotten a little stale with the weapon choice and how it's working. There's different strategies, rushing, sitting in your base and waiting, but I'd like to see like a weapon change up. Maybe, have a whole separate map and use snipers. Just a very limited area where you can't go hiding, but change it up slightly because taking that 357 in there and trying to land 2 shots sucks.
I like the prison format, but maybe opening it up to outside, right? So a sniper's format, or like an AR with like 1 clip. I think you should remove C4. I think that's super unfair. Like, honestly, I've won matches not shooting the gun. I just run at the guy, throw C4, and explode it, and I win. I don't know. I think C4 is one of the most overpowered things in the game right now.
Or you throw C4 in the center, you wait until overtime, and then
You get what I'm saying? Yeah, you get to time it. But yeah, I agree with you. Just adding a weapon right now would be making it more exciting. You have two of the same shotguns, the same pistols. That's it. So
Yeah, I think the rest of the player base kind of agrees with you, with the both of you. I've seen a few articles out there that Infinity Ward is aware of this. The head guys, directors are talking about it, and there's been a conversation about changing up the weapons, at least to maybe an AR and sniper rifle. You definitely have to make it a larger space. I mean, it'd be very interesting in that small little area, but at least changing it to like an AR or some machine gun battle, because the factor of the gulag in the overall game though has been, I think, a great addition to the battle royale, just because of the fact that it gets your adrenaline pumping. You're going 1v1. It sucks to lose, and it sucks to lose again, but it makes for really good videos when people rage.
I would love if we could just drop in just fist only, just fisticuffs, and we just run at each other, and we just gotta pop, pop, pop. Or
Anyway,
like
sometimes
crossbows.
I feel like they're just rushing for melee kills.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Well, and not only that, but I do enjoy the Gulag aspect, because say you die like just some shitty death, and it happens to all of us, but at least you have a shot to get back in the game and to try to fix your mistake, fix whatever you screwed up, somebody sneaking up behind you, whatever. But it gives your team a shot. Like, I think we've won a game where we've all died, and Jeremy wins his gulag, eventually brings us all back, and then we go for the W. Like, it happens.
Yeah, it's definitely it's one of the interesting things about Warzone is how easy it is to get your team back after dying. It is really funny watching Matt jump in the gulag because of how anxiety or like how scared he is when he's in there and he's got a guy rushing him and he's just popping off all of his shots on the guy and none of them are landing and he just starts to panic and it's definitely
it's so funny giving him direction of like, hey, he's coming on your right, and he still just panics and just like, oh god, where did he come from?
Hey, I try to play with that option of you can't kill a moving target, right? So just keep moving, and then they eventually kill me anyway. But it happens.
Another one of the topics we want to discuss, I think, John, you wanted to go into a little bit more, and you know this more about, is the sort of the weapons in Warzone and sort of what are the best ones to level up first and which ones to use, kind of what sort of classes people are using. Did you want to go into that?
Yeah, just speaking about the meta here a bit. Free-to-play players like yourself, Jeremy, and Matt, my recommendation right away was to level up the M4. That is a classic throughout the time of Call of Duty. It has been either one of the top 5 guns pretty much in every single Call of Duty. That being said, like, that is, I mean, to this day, it's still probably dominating. It's probably the most used weapon. I mean, don't quote me on that because I think there's some comebacks now with, the Grau and the MP7. And now the MP5's actually gaining ground as well. That's what I'm getting at, is the meta is 5 guns right now. Like, that it's getting a little stale for me.
So let me ask you a question. What out of meta gun would you use? Like, if you just wanted to be different, you had to choose a gun out of the meta, which one do you usually go for?
I'm an SMG player, and I've always loved the P90. I have a class with the P90 set up right now. It just feels good to me. It fires fast. The recoil's super low, minimal, and it just, put a silencer on that, you're like a ninja. You just run up on them.
Are you telling me right now that my class with the riot shield and shotgun is not viable right now?
You know what? I wouldn't recommend it, but you do you. All right.
Jeremy, you use an M13 a lot, and I know John never mentioned that. How do you like using the M13?
Just to go back a little bit, the first weapon I was able to level up quickly was the M4. I got that thing leveled to really, really fast, and the fact that it's a constant loot drop, it's a floor pickup, it's always there. The M4 is definitely stable, and I agree with that. And when I first dropped in, I started playing the game, the M13 was also a loot weapon, or I should say a floor weapon that you can pick up, and it just feels really smooth when you use it. It's got, the accuracy is really nice, and just how it fires, I feel like I can put a lot of shots on people really quickly. And one of the guns, just to compare, when I pick up the AK, right, I feel like that gun is just all over the place. I can't even aim at the guy. And
super big recoil. Super big.
Yeah, the recoil is all over the place. And I feel like when you talk about the M4, you talk about the M13, there's barely any recoil with it, and it just improves as you level it up. So getting those headshots,
that's what makes that archetype, the M13, the Grau, and the M4, so it's consistency. Like, even if you're not hitting headshots every single time, you're at least in this hit box where you're hitting at least body shots and getting some headshots in there. The AK, it just sprays all over the place. But at the times when you do hit, it'll kill you. It'll shred you faster than any other gun in the game. It hits like a truck.
You could say that about the what is it?
I think the Odin.
The Odin hits you. Oh my god, that gun. Super big recoil, not a super fast, fire speed, but that gun, it'll burst you in 2 or 3 shots.
Yeah, but I think just for new players too, is what we just talked about, is the kind of the way to get better at this game is leveling up those weapons that are consistent and reliable, and that that if you're decent at aiming, you can land shots. And the gun that I've been leveling up, and the third one that I leveled up, was the Grau. I think that's what a lot of people have been using and started using, is the Grau. So it'd be interesting to see if and when they start dropping new weapons, where people will move from that. Is there any other suggestions? I know with our squad we kind of mix it up with how each person has their classes in a way. Like I go AR sniper rifle, Matt seems to go more AR RPG, and we got John going AR SMG. I think that's kind of the standard of what teams do from three and four teams, or
I love my rocket launcher.
You're welcome.
The minute John dropped that to me in the first car I blew up, I knew that I was in love.
you're hooked. You're hooked on Warzone, blowing up vehicles.
It's just like cocaine. Like, you just can't stop doing it. Like, Jesus.
Compared shooting RPGs to doing.
You need to cut that out. Yeah.
No, we're leaving that in.
Okay. Anyways.
Oh God.
Yeah, talk about RPGs real quick. I recently just got a quad kill. A car running by. I'm shooting at these guys for how long, and then gas finally forced them to come towards my direction. And they didn't realize I had an RPG. Pull it out.
Didn't realize. Dude, that's half the time when I have an RPG, and because I'm always running sniper rifle, and sometimes when I have an RPG and there's a truck going by, all I want to do is hide, because I forget that I have the RPG, and I'm scared because vehicles are so OP, like they'll just run you over, and it's the worst death you can have in the world. Is one, getting run over by a car, which was, I feel like 3 weeks ago was a huge problem. Was just getting run over by cars, and now lately it's getting killed by helicopters. I mean, I've had that happen to me twice now. I just want to just go kill somebody. I swear to God, it's the worst way to die.
I don't know if it's the worst way to die. I died recently in a car just trying to outrun the gas a little bit. You guys got wiped, so I'm just, hightailing it out of there. And the guy didn't even see me. He just sees on the mini map a car's coming. He threw a C4 over the wall and killed me. It was so frustrating. And it was like 10 feet behind me because the blast radius on that is, it'll take down the Empire State Building. It is the most ridiculous thing.
I'm the complete opposite of Jeremy. I see a car and I'm running for it. I take my RPG out and I'm charging him.
Dude, it's like fireworks when it blows up. It's just boom.
Me and John were in a duo game, and we were sitting on a building in port, and I see a squad running by or driving, and they drive to a buy station, and John's like, don't fire. And I'm like, if they hop on this freeway, I'm blowing their ass up. And sure enough, they got in their car, and they started coming up the freeway, and I'm like, John, I'm fired. And he's like,
oh, that's so funny. That team was so mad. Team wiped.
They were mad.
For all the RPGs you do hit, there are quite a few that you give up our position and miss your RPGs. Just to put that out there, you do love to try to shoot down those helicopters from time to time. So I think you just need to. You're great at blowing up cars. You just need to work on hitting those helicopters now.
Yeah. Then that helicopter turns around and the whole team drops on us, and we get wiped. So I mean, we've had that more than once.
Choppers are hard to hit. I don't care how good you are.
You got to get that launcher that locks on.
Yeah.
Another weapon that's not really been used or viable lately, and we'll see if that improves or not. We'll see. I don't know.
Well, the RPG too, I think if they're going to tweak it, they need to do something with self-damage more, right? So I recently, I think it was yesterday, I dropped into a game right away, and me and this other guy, I had a pistol. He finds an RPG on the ground, picks it up, turns around, and shoots it. I'm like 2 feet. I'm trying to run up and beat him down, and he doesn't even take damage. And I'm down. I'm dead. Go to the Gulag.
Yeah, I feel like when I pick up an RPG and I shoot at close range someone, I blow myself up. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, it's not consistent with that factor. I mean, that's one way of tweaking it so it's not so overpowered. It's a little bit more not forgiving for those up close RPG kills.
Taking this point and talking about vehicles, I was talking to Jeremy and John about this during a game the other day. I'd really like to hop in a chopper and be a chopper gunner. I wish that was a thing where you could
music going on in the background.
Exactly, and just sit there and just hold the trigger button and go to town. I get it that it'd be overpowered as fuck and everybody and their mom would use it, but
I feel like they could, I just thought of this, is that they could implement this into the game of having like an attack helicopter. It could be a bigger helicopter in which it has a gunner on it, but it would just, it wouldn't be able to fly as high, or and also it would be a lot slower. So if you do go into it and want to risk it, I can imagine something like in Halo, like one of those like airship gunners or whatever, but just make it a slow moving helicopter.
Banshees.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is coming from a guy who plays PlayStation, not Halo. So
But I think also with a lot of vehicles, there's a lot of things that they can definitely add in that category. Just because Call of Duty is kind of known in the multiplayer of having lots of different things kill you, I guess you could say.
Tank. I want a tank.
I disagree. I'd be so frustrated. I would stop playing if a chopper gunner kills me or a tank rolls up. I just get my loadout and a tank rolls up and just look. You see it. The barrel just turn right at you and then just you're
But
dead.
hear me out. How satisfying would it be if you hop up on a tank, you open the lid, drop a grenade, and close it, and everybody blows up inside?
What is this? This isn't like a movie here. Like, no.
But how
No.
satisfying would that be? Like, if that was achievable, I would be all over it. That's my whole goal in Call of Duty. Find a tank and blow somebody up like that.
I think what they could do is like they could have example being the shield turret, which we've brought up multiple times, is that instead of having it be like a kill streak, you can have certain things like a broken down tank that doesn't move, just like at a certain part of the map that you can access the cannon and you can have it, fire left to right in a certain direction. I mean, how many awesome videos would come out of people just like in that final circle and that gun was there and they kill a team with it, or if you have turrets just placed in certain locations that are just like on top of airport or something, or on top of certain buildings that you can just access. So if you run into a team down below or something and you know where it is, you can access it and use it. I mean, I think that would be useful instead of an actual tank that you run around and
Instead
use
of a
during the
tank
game.
or a chopper gunner, I think those are the two most overpowered options. What if they added like a Humvee with like a gun on the back?
Yeah,
Like
there you go.
we played a lot of Halo back in the day. Those warthogs, with the machine guns in the back. Like those are fun. The mobility's pretty good. It's not as fast as like a four wheeler or quad, but the handling's good, and you can have a whole squad to get in there, and you have one guy on the gun. That would be cool.
Or how about going old school Call of Duty? Get one of those auto firing turrets and just throw it down in the middle of the circle closing and get all those kills.
I mean, so you bring up a good point though. The sentry gun. How ridiculous are the kill streaks right now? Sometimes you run in the game. Like, that's what's getting stale for me a little bit. It is UAV, shield turret, precision airstrike, cluster strike. They need to add something different. Like, they need to mix that part of
Yeah, I
the game.
totally agree.
We were just talking about that, like a counter UAV. I think John brought that up.
Yeah, because I mean, all I hear when I'm going in games now is UAV above, and yeah, you can have Ghost. But what if you don't want to run Ghost and you want to be able to block that off? I mean, would you be viable to buy a counter UAV just to make sure that when you're going those final circles that people don't know where you are? And another thing I think we've also discussed is the ability to, like in the multiplayer, is to see the UAVs and blow them up, and that would be a use for the actual lock-on launchers.
Yeah,
I
right
think-
now the lock-on launchers are useless behind the RPG.
I think with the lock-on launchers, the easy way to make them OP or meta is to take away the ability or shrink the announcement time if you've been locked on too. You know what I mean? Like maybe give somebody 2 seconds to react before you let them know. You
That's
know
a
what I
good
mean?
point. Yeah, if you land a perfectly good RPG, that's stealthy. It just comes out of nowhere and it hits you. Versus you got the javelin locking onto you and it's like, oh, bail, run. You have plenty of time.
Exactly. I really think that should be changed because no one rocks a javelin right now because why? You grab the stealth RPG and then you rock that.
All right, well, I think kind of coming to the end of our discussion and end of our podcast, I think it would be fun to sort of talk about our games in the past week. I feel like as a trio, as a squad jumping in there during the week, we've had a really good sort of streak where there's like 2 or 3 days where every time we're jumping in and coming in top 10. And then we ended up getting on today and playing, and we played probably like 10 games, 10, 15 games, and it just felt like we couldn't even get out of the top 20. So how do you guys think our sort of strategies and as a team has sort of evolved since we started playing together?
I think that John's become our shot caller, and he's got probably the best strategic mind. I think that Jeremy's our carry. He's just got the most natural ability, and I carry around a rocket for vehicles.
You're just our RPG
You're our X
guy.
Factor. You're our X Factor, that's for
I'm
sure.
the revive specialist and RPG carrier.
Funny that there's certain spots that we like to land that we've kind of figured out to get away from the named places, right? Because the named drop areas always seem to be a little hot, except for maybe like airport because it's so damn confusing, or I don't know, the dam. But everywhere else seems to be kind of hot spots. But then we decide to land areas outside those places, and it still ends up being like popular spots or hotspots, and everyone's kind of starting to figure those places out. But the games that we tend to win are the ones that we just land somewhere random out of nowhere, and we just sort of pick
We
ourselves
get
up
so
and
lucky sometimes. It's just like
lucky,
insane.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
I mean, we had a victory yesterday, and it was in a quad game. We were with another person that joined us, but Jeremy had one of the most ridiculous ends to a game. The three of us are all dead, and poor Jeremy's alive. It's a quad game. There's probably 12 people left, and he has a 17 kill game and pulls it out.
yeah, 8 of them pretty much run into him one at a time in that room. Like,
Oh my god, he's camping in a room in a gas station. There's no exit to the room.
that was easily my least favorite win out of all our wins, by the way.
John was just heated, getting killed. At
Even
the
you asked
loadout,
about
getting his
how our
loadout,
game-
getting killed, getting revived, getting killed again. A guy jumping
getting
up on the
abandoned by
roof.
my team. I mean, I'm gonna call you guys out a little bit.
I think the interesting too about that game that we won, that I ended up clutching at the end, is that I went down like 2 or 3 times and ended up getting revived, and it's just where we even started. We started somewhere random in downtown, ended up getting in a helicopter. We got 2 or 3 recons, knew where possibly the near final circle was, but not
Ended up at
exactly.
TV station and then like a random building, a gas station over that way.
And
Yeah.
on a random building, and as we're trying to move up,
It's final circle. The rest, three of us are running with the gas, getting just trimmed down, and John's 300 meters ahead of us in the final circle.
getting a few kills here and there, but that was still, I mean, still an exciting win. Even coming down to getting seconds and thirds, I mean, I feel like we end up in really good positions where we're able to get money, get our loadout, get a couple recons.
Except that second we
And
got the other day where you were stuck on the side of the cliff there. You just
Oh god, yeah. Just trying to get up cliffs in this game is insane. If you get stuck down there, I just knew I was dead. I was dead in the gas, and that's also
you
one
can
of the
carry
worst
around
ways to die.
RPGs like it's like 100 pounds in real life. These huge LMGs. You can't climb a rock in this game. Like it is the most ridiculous thing. That is probably my biggest pet peeve. Fix that, please.
Well, something that I think you can add to this game, and maybe like it'll come, is maybe that's something you can buy, is like in the chest, is like some kind of hook that you can get up a big hill like that, right?
No, that's the most ridiculous thing. Stop being lazy. Fix it that I can actually climb rocks, doing this. Shouldn't be able to have to buy a grappling hook and throw it at the cliff and then climb it up. That's
But there's some cliffs too steep
No.
to even do that with. My point is,
yeah, you can't climb a cliff. Like, we're talking like the rocks that are just like, I could climb this in real life, climb up this like rock here, and I can't even jump that. I can't mount it. I can't do anything. It's like the dumbest shit.
well, that's what I mean though. Like, agreed, they should adjust that. But I mean, that'd be something cool and different, right? You throw a hook up, you get to climb it up.
Let's
but
add
you-
jetpacks. Fuck it.
Jetpacks would be insane.
Why
But I think
not take it to the extreme? Like, I'm talking about
I'm
a hook.
exaggerating. Yeah.
A one-time use, a hook. You throw it up and you climb it.
Can I throw that hook at a guy and drag him towards me like I'm Scorpion?
oh,
Maybe.
yeah.
Maybe, if you're good enough.
I think that kind of goes into sort of the strategy of trying to win games too, is when you think about needing to just keep the high ground. Don't get to that low ground, and if you know where those final circles are going to be, make sure that you're the one on top.
Make sure you're hiding. That's what I do.
Yeah, Matt's
An
our
RPG out.
designated hide in a bus guy. Camp in a building.
I love it. Firehouse, super tall tower. You'll find me there.
Falling down that firehouse.
All right. Well, I think it's a good time to finish up the podcast. You guys have any last comments you'd like to say?
Again, thanks for hosting, Jeremy. Did a great job.
Yeah, well, as always, you're amazing. And I think that if you're liking our video and you want to leave a comment of something that you guys want us to cover, that'd be great. Or something that we're talking about doing, and let us know if you want to, is if we post a video and just kind of analyze the gameplay and just attach it with the podcast. But let us know.
Get our funny back and forth banter.
It's funny. Oh, it's funny.
All right, well, thanks guys for another awesome episode, and thank you to all of our listeners today. We'll probably have episode 3 come out around the time that season 4 launches for Call of Duty, so be sure to subscribe to our channel so you're notified when our next episode drops. And as always, if you enjoyed the show, please let us know by leaving a comment below or giving a thumbs up. If you can't wait for the next episode and want more Warzone content from us, you can follow my Twitter at itsmejayholc, or tune into my stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/JAYHOLC, where Matt, John, and I play Warzone on a pretty much daily basis. Thanks again. See you next time.